Hi guys, it's finally summer, which means more vlogs, more content, more fun stuff. And so this week or this month, or however long this is going to take, because I don't know, I'm going to be reading. Wait, I don't have the book with me. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to be reading House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, because this is part of like the series I was talking about where I want to what do you call it? Read books that I think I'm not going to enjoy, or like hate read books. And I know a lot of people hate when people hate read books, and I kind of get it, but also it's really fun. Like, I totally understand why some people would like the books that I don't like. Like, I totally understand that some people's taste veers to like towards that. Like the other book series that I did, A Court of Thorns and Roses, for this series of videos, I like did not like it, but I totally understand why some people would. I totally understand like the appeal. So I'm not like hate reading it exactly. I'm just kind of recording my reactions to it because I love reading books that I don't think I'm going to enjoy because I feel like it's just fun. Like, I know that sounds deranged, but it's very like, especially when someone I know has already read it, I love reacting to them, and it's very fun for me to like give them my complete rants and my reactions. And so yeah, so I thought this series would be fun, and this is the second episode, and I'm going to be reading House of Earth and Blood. I think there's only 2 books in this series so far. I have the first book, someone gave it to me, and then the second book I have like on my Kindle and stuff, but I don't know if the third book is out yet, and I don't know when it's coming out, and I might add it in this video, but I'm not sure. It depends if it's like coming out soon, because I don't want to be like waiting like 3 months to record the rest of this vlog. So I don't know, it depends. But yeah, for now we're gonna be reading the first 2 books, and I have this. I have no idea what this book is about. I have very minor spoilers, such as I think in the end of the second book, Rhysand makes an appearance or something like that. And I know it's about this girl named Bryce, and I know like the characters' names, but that's pretty much the extent of it. I know like, I think Bryce has a friend named Danica who goes missing, and that's how like the story gets going, but like I don't know much. It's very vague. It's a fairy book. There's not much you need to know. So yeah. Anyway, I have my book and I have my soda, and I think I've mentioned this like at least once before, but I love soda. Like, I actually have a problem, like an unhealthy problem. I will drink anything carbonated. It doesn't even have to be like Coke or like Sprite or anything. It just has to be carbonated and I will drink it. Like, I'm obsessed. I have a genuine problem, and I don't even want to fix it. But my current obsession is like this Kirkland flavored one. And usually I hate flavored sparkling water. I think it's the most disgusting, vile thing on earth because it's so sweet and it's so like artificial, and it tastes like carbonated orange juice, and I hate that. But this one is something else. It's like, it's very faint. It's like in the back of your like mouth, and it's like, it's basically like essence. It's like the flavored essence, and this is the grapefruit flavor, and in the packet there's like 15 lime ones, 10 lemon, and 10 grapefruit, and I love the grapefruit ones. So yeah, it's so good. Okay, so I just realized that there's like a blurb on the back with the summary, which I never bothered to read. It says, Bryce Quinlan used to light up Crescent City, partying all night in the clubs where the strict classes of angels Angel, Shifter, Human, and Fae merge into a sea of beautiful bodies. And then a demon murdered her closest friends. 2 years later, when the supposed killer is behind bars, but the crimes start up again, the city's leaders command Bryce to investigate. They assign an enslaved fallen angel, Hunt Atlar, to make sure she does. But as Bryce fights to uncover the truth and resist her attraction to the brooding angel who shadows her every step, she finds herself following a trail that leads deep into her own dark past. Okay. So, I'm gonna start now. Wish me luck. This thing is thick. Okay, so we're starting off strong. Danica is just a full-out wolf, like a literal wolf. So I guess Sarah J. Maas just stopped beating around the bush with the whole furry thing and just decided to fully embrace it. And you know what? I'm happy for her. Okay. I'm back. So it's been about like an hour, and I actually took a break because I went to print some stuff out. I'm not going to show you what I printed because I'm going to hang them up on my wall, and I'm really excited. So, yeah, there's a lot, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to go and do that and then show you guys once I'm done. Okay, so it took a while, but I finally cut all the posters and stuff, and I also have like this old poster, so that can also go up there, and then I have like a bunch of other ones that were just lying around, and then I already have like this huge Starry Night poster, so that like takes up a lot of space already. So I'm probably not gonna use all of these. I'm not sure. I printed out like a lot. It cost me $10 at the library. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna start arranging it. So, okay guys, it's a couple days later and I did finish arranging like the wall. Like I finished, except I have like a few things that I want to add. So I'm going back to print some things out today. Like I'm going on a little walk and going to the library to print things out, and then I'm gonna go to Lucky's and stuff. And then when I come back and like put everything up, then I'll give you a tour. And I'm kind of obsessed with it. Like at first when I put it up, I was like, this looks a little insane. Like it looks too chaotic. It just doesn't vibe. But like the more that it's like there, I think I just like needed to get used to it. Cause like I was thinking about it and I realized like everything I put up on my wall, I didn't like until like a little later. Like until I like got used to it. Like all the posters that I had on my wall before, like the Starry Night poster that was in like a lot of my videos and stuff, I didn't like it when I first put it up. I thought it looked very like odd, just like in the middle of my room. But like the more that these things are there, like I'm getting used to them. So yeah, so I got used to it and I'm kind of really obsessed with it. And it looks really good in the dark, especially. So I think I'll give you guys a tour like in the night, and yeah, it'll be very fun. But anyway, the actual reason I started this vlog was to read this book. So I didn't make like any progress. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a slump. This always happens. I always go into like the biggest slump during summer, which is when I have like the most time to read, and like that's when my brain decides to just like shut down and like, you know, stop working and stop like wanting to read. So I'm in like a huge slump, and this is a pretty thick book. So I don't know. I was gonna say I really want to read it, which I don't, but like I know I need to read it. So we'll see. I also need to pick up the second book, which I put on hold in the library because I don't have that one. So I'm gonna go pick that up today, and then I don't know, maybe I'll want to read it then. Because sometimes if I don't have like the whole series with me, I just don't feel like reading it. So maybe that's why, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. We're only 14 pages in, but we're already into the whole Sarah J. Maas language. She literally just used the term purely for like, I think the millionth time. And I don't think she's ever gonna stop. Like, what does it mean? Like, what do you mean purely? As in all the other impure ones? Like, make it make sense. Why? Like, if you used it like once or twice, like, I guess it would make like complete sense, and it would just be like something you pass over. But she uses it in all of her books, like, constantly. Like, it's like she has this book of like staple adjectives that she just like goes through every once in a while to use. And this is like her favorite one. Like, what does purely mean? Like, as opposed to the other impure canines? I don't know. Okay, so as you can clearly see behind me, I finished. Oh my god, my hair is kind of crazy. But anyway, I finished the wall, and I actually finished it a couple days ago, but I was just, I don't know, I was kind of lazy and I was a little like, I had other stuff going on and I was kind of busy. But I really wanted to give you guys a tour because it's like a lot of it is like really book related. So I thought it'd be fun to give a tour, and I've just been putting it off. So now we're gonna do that. Okay, so that's the whole wall, and I'm just gonna go through like almost each one. Ow. Okay. This one is just a random picture of Kendall Jenner that just says like, I don't care, and I think she's hilarious. So I have that up there. Then I have this Taylor Swift quote, like, you drew stars around my scars, from Cardigan. Then I have Taylor Swift herself. Then I have Lana Del Rey's Norman fucking Rockwell like tour poster. Then I have this newspaper article kind of thingy about Getaway Car. Then I have this random Instagram model that I sometimes stalk because he looks like Jameson Hawthorne. So yeah. I have this random picture. I actually don't even know why, like, it has no meaning. Then I have Hugh Grant from Maurice reading because he's literally beautiful. Then I have this like letter that's basically just the song Betty, and it's like formatted like a letter written to Betty from James. And most of these are pretty random. Then I have this Billy and Daisy little cards, and like Daisy says, when you think of me, I hope it ruins rock and roll, and Billy says, I believe you can break me, but I'm saved for the one who saved me. Hold on. Then I have this little letter with like these ink splotches, and it's actually like the song The Great War, and that one, like the bridge part where it's like, somewhere in the haze, got a sense I've been betrayed. I love that part. So I have like this, and I had this frame lying around, and I thought it just like went with everything, so I put that there. And like also interspersed, I have like these CDs that I painted a while ago. This is my Inej. This is a quote from the Atlas 6. This is like an Infernal Devices thing. This is a Raven Boys thing. Then I have this like Raven Boys poster. I have Chandler from Friends holding like a martini glass with sand in it, and the dialogue is just like, okay, and I thought that was hilarious for like absolutely no reason. Then I have this poster of Arctic Monkeys, and then I have that. If you know, you know. If you read These Violent Delights, then you know. And I have Lana Del Rey during the 2008 concert when she's singing Summertime Sadness. I love that concert. I watch it obsessively. I was like 1 when it happened, but I like watch like tapes of it. And then I have this quote from the movie Kill Your Darlings. And then I have Arabella, which is my favorite Arctic Monkeys song. And actually one fell, but I had this random thing that I actually printed out a long time ago, and it was just like lying around in my room. I'm like not going in order in case you didn't notice. And this is Freddie Carter and Amita Suman, and I love them with like, I love that entire cast, so they're there. Then I have this quote from Mean Girls when like Regina asks Karen to hang out, and Karen's like, I can't, I'm sick, and then Regina's like, boo you whore. I love that. I love it. I just rewatched that scene. I don't know why. I love the way she says it. Anyway, and then we have Tangled, because that was like my favorite movie as a child. I'd watch it like constantly. Then I have this lyric, Dream a Little Dream of Me, which is from like a Lana Del Rey song, but originally it was from like a Doris Day song. So yeah, I just have that. Then I have this drawing that I did a long time ago, so I just hung that there. Then I have this Polaroid of Gansey and Blue, and I have this scene from Gilmore Girls that's like Rory's like, yeah, and everything else fails, you can always marry rich. And Lorelai's like, I love that we always have that option, and I love that scene. So we have that. Then we have the cover of my favorite Arctic Monkeys album. And then we have Phoebe drinking coffee, because I love Phoebe with like all of my heart. Like, marry me. Then we have the Smab of New York. And then we have my Cordelia fan cast kind of thingy. And I wrote this thing that just says like, till death we do art, because I saw this t-shirt online and I love that. So yeah. This is the Crows. This is a Tumblr tweet, I think, that's just like, not a tweet, what am I saying, a Tumblr post that's just like, it's me, my 15 personalities, 638 playlists, and 219 unread books against the world. And I was like, I wrote this in another life, so I have to have it on my wall. Then we have a Will Herondale quote, probably the most famous one. And I feel like, okay, not like gun violence or anything, but I just feel like this perfectly encompasses like the enemies to lovers that I want. So we have that. Please, no one cancel me, like, that's not what I mean. And then, yeah, pretty much, like, whatever. Like, everything else is, like, just pictures and stuff. And then I have this giant poster of Starry Night. I love that painting, and I bought it in Target. It was, like, $6. But, yeah, that's my whole wall. Kind of obsessed. I literally just sit on my bed and stare at it all day long. Like, I'm psychotically obsessed with it. Anyway, back to the actual point of this video. This work of literature. In typical me fashion, I've literally been reading every other book except the book that I have to read. I've reread Beach Read. I've reread Book Lovers, all in like a night. And then I almost started People We Meet on Vacation. I almost started it last night. And then instead I started reading The Dream Thieves. So basically I've been reading every single book except the one that I'm supposed to read. But follow me on my journey as I delve into it. It's not like uninteresting, like nothing has really happened yet, but I know that something is gonna happen soon. Like, I can see it coming, and also I kind of know because I know that Danica dies. If you didn't know this, I'm sorry. Like, step away. This is completely spoiler full video. But anyway, yeah, Danica dies. So I know that happens like pretty early on in the book. And I'm like on chapter 3 only. So I know it's gonna happen like soon. But yeah, for some reason I like, even if I find the book like insanely interesting, I have such a hard time like bringing myself to read the book that I know that I have to read. And then I get like distracted and start reading like everything under the moon except that book. But yeah, I'm gonna start again and we'll see how it goes this time. Okay, right now I'm actually like picking a vinyl to listen to while I read this book, but I don't know what to pick yet. I want like slow, so it's either between Folklore or Norman fucking Rockwell. I think I'm gonna listen to Norman fucking Rockwell because like all the songs on it are slow, and like Folklore has like some upbeat songs. So yeah, this is the one we're sticking with right now. Anyway, basically, I read a little bit last night. I got to actually chapter like 12, which I think is progress. So I'm like this much through, and I'm on chapter 12. So I'm just gonna like tell you what happened while I like get ready. And by get ready, I literally just mean moisturize my face and use this thingy. It's actually so fun. I don't think it actually even like works, but it's so fun to just like, and it feels so nice, especially in like summer. And like also heat is a cause for pimples, so I do this like sometimes in the morning if I have time, because like it just cools down my face. But anyway, let me tell you what happened. So Bryce goes on this date with this human guy who she obviously doesn't even like that much, but she goes and then she dumps him because he's always on his phone, whatever, blah blah blah, and his name's like Reed or something. And then she texts Connor, who's like this werewolf who's like second in command to Danica, and she like texts him and she's like, yeah, you know what, we should try this out, because earlier that day he was like, we should try to date because like there's obviously something between us, blah blah blah. And Bryce is like, yeah, okay, great, we'll do that. And it's all like and they're both like really excited obviously to like date, whatever. I don't know, that part's pretty like, I guess it is kind of relevant, but anyway. So they're like, yeah, we should try to date. I think we would work out really well together, whatever. And so they decide to date. And then right after, this is sunscreen, by the way, before anyone thinks I'm putting like deodorant on my face. Anyway, and then they decide to date. And then Bryce goes to like this club and she gets like completely wasted and literally tries every single drug under the planet or under the sun, whatever, and like gets completely wasted. And then she goes home, and when she gets home, like she's obviously very high, very drunk, right? But she starts noticing that it's like really quiet, and then she smells like blood. And she goes into her room, and like Danica is like on the bed, dead, like cut up into pieces. And Connor is like right next to her, and they're like, and every single member of the pack is dead. Of Danica's pack is dead. So she goes into shock and she like runs downstairs, and then she sees like the creature that killed them. And then she starts fighting, but she's not that strong, obviously, blah blah blah. Something happens. I would skim the fight scenes in like any book. I don't know why. It's actually a problem. But anyway, so they start fighting. Obviously she's losing because she's literally half human. She has no powers. And then these two like archangels stop her. I think their names are Isaiah and Hunt, and they stop her and then they take her back and question her, and she's like in obvious shock. And then while they're questioning her, Hunt's half brother Rune walks in and he's like, you have to release her, like this is Fae business, we're gonna handle it, blah blah blah. He takes her away, and then it kind of skips to like 2 years later. So they think the guy that killed Danica is this criminal that they recently released from prison. And they think that he summoned a demon. So he goes back into jail, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 years pass. And Bryce is like completely sober. She doesn't drink, blah, blah. She's like obviously traumatized. She lives alone. She's not as like open or as like energetic as she used to be, whatever. And then one day, Hunt and Isaiah, you get a little bit background on Hunt and how he was like an enslaved archangel or something because he fought in like a rebellion or a war for the other side, and then he was taken, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, it's like a Rowan from Throne of Glass situation where he's like taken and he's like forced to work under this woman. I feel like she has that trope a lot. Like in A Court of Thorns and Roses, it's Rhysand. He's like forced to work for Amarantha. Hunt is forced to work for I actually literally forgot her name. What the hell? I know her sister's name is Shahar. I think her name's Sandriel. Yeah, Sandriel. So he's forced to work for Sandriel. Ronan was forced to work with Maeve. So like, yeah, she has that trope a lot. But anyway, so my throat is kind of crazy for some reason. But anyway, so you get a little backstory and how he makes a deal with Micah, this other like archangel or like fae or something that he works for, and the deal is like, if you kill as many people for me as you killed during the war, which is like 2,000 something, then you're free to go. So, you know, he's working towards that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and then Isaiah and Hunt go to Bryce, and they're like, we need to talk, and so they start talking, and then they realize, or like they tell her that there's been a similar murder with like this one guy named Maximilian or something, and he was killed in the same way that Danica was killed. So Bryce is really confused right now because she's like, no, Danica's killer is like in jail. We put him in jail. Was he? And so everyone's like obviously confused, and then they realize that he was falsely accused of Danica's murder. And so then you find out that Hunt and Bryce are supposed to like work together to find the murder. Like the governor wants Bryce to solve the murders, and he sent Hunt to solve the murders with her. So Hunt doesn't like Bryce. He thinks she's like spoiled and shallow and like whatever. So yeah, let's see how this turns up. But anyway, yeah, that was my little get ready with me, even though I did like 2 things. And I'll update you the next time I read. Okay, so we're back in the update chair again, same as yesterday, except today I'm updating a little late because I went swimming and then I forgot to, and then when I came back, I like forgot to update, so I read a little more though. But essentially, Bryce is forced to look for Danica's murder with Hunt, and both of them don't want to be here in this like arrangement. But anyway, the first day, Bryce goes to like this salon, and Hunt is like, what the hell is she doing? Like, doesn't she care that her friend is dead? Doesn't she want to find like this murder or whatever? And so he follows her to the salon, and she's in there for like hours, and he's just like really irritated at this point. Anyway, then she comes out, and you know, they have a little argument, whatever, and then I forgot what happens in between, but I do know that Rune, I think that's his name, Rune, Bryce's half brother, goes like talks to their dad, and the dad's like, you need to find the horn, and the horn is like this magical object, or it was magical but then it broke, whatever, and a couple weeks before Danica was murdered, it was stolen. And so the dad, all of a sudden, he's like, you need to find it, okay? And Rune's like, why, whatever, blah blah. And then the dad's also like, you also need to find someone to marry. You need to marry this one girl named Hypaxia, I think that's her name, yeah, Hypaxia. And Rune's like annoyed or whatever. And then Bryce shows up at his place and is like, yeah, I need the what do you call her? The Viper Queen. And I guess she's like, she works in this place called the Meat Market, which is like a trading center, like an illegal trading center or something. And she's like, yeah, I need you to track down the Viper Queen for me. And Rune's confused because he has no idea about the deal that, not the deal, the arrangement between Hunt and Bryce where they have to like work together and stuff. So he's confused. He's like, what the hell? Why do you need her for? And then Bryce tells him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Bryce does end up meeting the Viper Queen, and the Viper Queen tells her you have to look where it hurts the most. Something very cryptic. So now, and Hunt still thinks Bryce is like this complete party girl, whatever. She like spends her days drinking, she doesn't care about anything or anyone, whatever. And in reality, Bryce doesn't actually drink anymore because of what happened to Danica, except no one really, I don't know why I said except no one really knows that. And so they just have like this misconception of her, including Hunt, whatever. I keep saying whatever, okay? But like all this is like irrelevant information. I'm just trying to get to like the main point. Anyway, yeah. So, oh, by the way, I'm looking in like a mirror. So I'm not just like looking up. I'm like looking in the mirror. Anyway, so yeah. And then Hunt finds out that Bryce actually went to that salon that day. Like, not just because she's like frivolous and just wanted to get her nails done, but because one of the guys that died, I mentioned in the last update, Maximilian, had a girlfriend, and that girlfriend works in the salon that Bryce like went to. And so she gets her nails done and she finds out all sorts of stuff about this guy, including the fact that he didn't know Danica, like that him and Danica did not know each other, because people were telling Bryce that him and Danica knew each other, and so it was like a connection, but apparently they didn't know each other. And so Hunt's like, oh, well, my bad. And essentially the next few chapters are just her constantly like proving him wrong. And at this point, this like other murder happens, and Hunt is like Bryce tries to like get out of it, and she's like, oh, I'm busy, blah blah blah, but Hunt's like, no, we have to go. And so they go, and Bryce kind of like blanks out, like she kind of has like a panicky moment, and she's like not paying attention, she can't focus on anything because she's like reliving these other murders, like Danica's murder and stuff. So yeah, and then Bryce and Hunt get into a huge fight where Bryce finds out that she was on Hunt's suspect list, and she gets really mad at him, and she goes to like this club, and she sits there, and then Hunt follows her in, and she's like talking to her friend Juniper, and they're like having dinner or whatever, and they're having dinner, and then Hunt finally finds out that Bryce does not drink, because he sees that the drink in her hand isn't like, it's just water, and then she tells him that she doesn't drink. And so he's finding out all these things about Bryce, and he feels horrible, and just as he's about to go to her, because she's like on the dance floor in the club, and just as he's about to go to her, like the club explodes. Okay, the camera cut me off, but basically what I was going to say was the club explodes, and that's where I ended, and then I remembered that I have to update. But yeah, essentially that's where I am right now. Like, it just says Bryce took all of one step toward the booth before the club exploded. So I'm on chapter 26, and I've read this much so far. Honestly, I'm going slower than I thought. Like, every time I like update, I feel like I read so much, and then it turns out there's like 10 pages that just magically added to the end of the book somehow. But yeah, I'm like one third of the way through the book. So yeah, it's okay. It's like not horrible, honestly. I'm actually kind of interested to see what happens. Like, I don't like the relationship between Bryce and Hunt so far. Like, I don't see anything. Like, there's no tension. There's like basically nothing, which is like good because it's like slow burn, but I don't see any like chemistry either. So we'll have to see where it goes, because I don't like that relationship so far. I'm actually, for once, reading the book for the plot, because I actually do want to see like what the hell's going on, like why they were murdered and who murdered them. So okay, we're back in the update chair. I feel like in every single video I have like a different place that I update, but for this video it's here, and then for Court of Thorns and Roses I was just like sitting on the floor. But anyway, so I stopped at the part where the club explodes, and obviously everyone survives, like the important people, Rune, Bryce, and Hunt. And then afterwards, Bryce talks to Declan, who's Rune's friend, and tells him like, I need you to do something for me. I need you to like look into the footage for the night that the horn was missing. I think I mentioned the horn before. I don't know if I did, but it's this artifact that went missing a couple weeks before Danica was killed, and Rune is supposed to find it now. And so she tells Declan, can you look for the footage on the night that the horn went missing? because Danica was on guard the night that the horn went missing. So, except there was like a blackout that night, so there's like no proper footage, but like the audio for the footage should still be working. So she asked Declan to look into it, and he agrees. Okay, and when he does look into it, he realizes that the footage was swapped from another place to like the temple where the horn was, and so they don't have the actual footage from the night that the horn was stolen at the temple. They have like some other footage because someone swapped it, and then Bryce is like, who the hell swapped it? And Declan's like, okay, it was Sabine. Sabine is Danica's mom, and Danica's mom and Bryce do not get along, like absolutely not at all. And I think before this, yeah, it was definitely before this. I don't know why I'm going completely out of order, but before this, Bryce goes with Hunt to like the I don't know what it's called. It starts with a C, but it's basically where he lives. And she goes there with him, and there they run across Sandriel and Micah, and Hunt kind of freezes. So Bryce pretends to like be completely like infatuated with Sandriel and like takes a picture and like makes a whole scene out of it. She's like, oh my god, thank you for bringing me here, blah blah blah, just so like they can get them out of it. And so she catches Micah's attention, and Micah asks her out on a date, and she's like, not interested, and then she goes away. And obviously this is going to cause problems later in the future. But yeah, anyway, that happens. And so now Micah is not on to Bryce, but like he notices her, which cannot be good. But what else happens? My mind is like blanking. I read it so fast. And then oh yeah, so then they tell Micah, okay, that I think, you know, she has something, like something's going on with Sabine. I think it's her that killed Danica. And he's like, I need more proof. But before this, the reason that they tell this to Micah is because they're like walking somewhere, and then the demon, the Crystallis demon, comes after them and attacks them. And it like bites Hunt, and the minute that it bites Hunt, like his powers kind of go away because of the poison, so it kind of like negates their powers. So, but then like they manage to kill it, but then like Bryce starts getting suspicious because she's like, what the hell, it shouldn't be this easy to just kill the demon. So she no longer thinks it's the Crystallis demon that killed Danica, but she still thinks it's Sabine. So then they're going back to the apartment. They're like injured, okay, but they're like healing, whatever. They go back to her apartment, and there is Sabine. And Sabine like holds Bryce at gunpoint and tells her like, you have to give me the sword, okay? And the sword is like this sword that Danica had, and it's been missing since Danica's death, and Sabine's been looking for it, like crazy looking for it, because she just really badly wants it. So yeah, so she's like, you have to give me the sword, okay? Like, you know, she hates Bryce. She's threatening Bryce at this point. And Bryce is like, we know you killed Danica. We know that you summoned the demon. And she's like, what the hell? Why would you think that? And she's like, because you swapped out the footage, blah, blah, blah. And then Sabine's like, I swapped out the footage because to protect Danica, because Danica stole the horn. And Bryce is like, what? What happened? And so everyone's confused because she did not expect Danica to steal the horn. Okay, I'm actually just rambling right now. I don't think I'm even updating properly. But yeah, so now they know that Danica stole the horn and Sabine was trying to protect them, but they're not like completely unsuspicious of Sabine, but they no longer think it was the Crystallis demon. So Bryce gets this wonderful plan, it's really great, to summon a demon. And that's what she does because nobody can stop her. So she summons this demon, and in her apartment, and that's the part where I'm at. and his name is like Idas or something. But yeah, I think I explained it horribly. But I'm honestly just really curious to see what happens, and things are like kind of happening between Bryce and what's his name? Hunt. Like, they had a little moment after they were attacked by the demon before Sabine interrupted them. But yeah, like, I still don't see any chemistry. But oh well, I usually don't like any of Sarah J. Maas's like ships. I usually never support them. I honestly only liked Connor. I thought he was really nice from like the 5 seconds that we saw of him. And I genuinely did not expect him to die, because I knew Danica died, like would die, because like, I don't know, I saw a spoiler somewhere, but I didn't think the entire pack would die. And also, I forgot to mention, because I didn't even know that it happened, but Bryce's texts to Danica the night of her murder were leaked, and they were leaked, and so everyone knows about it, and that's why, like, the people from the pack, like the wolf pack, like refused to let her come to like Danica's like funeral and stuff, because they were leaked, and basically it was just her saying like, I'm so drunk, I'm hooking up with someone in the bathroom, don't tell Connor. And Connor's younger brother is like the second in the new pack that formed after Danica's pack died, and so he's like, you're not welcome here, and they used to be really close. But after he reads the text between her and Danica, and like finds out that like she's kind of cheating on his brother, he like stops talking to her, and he's like, you're not welcome here, and he's super like rude when she shows up to talk to Sabine at the wolf place. I don't know the names of any of these places, guys, but yeah, I'm actually pretty interested. It's not a horrible book. I think I went into it with like expectations like, oh, it's gonna be bad, because from my experience at least, her books have just gotten like progressively worse. Like in Throne of Glass, it started out great. I love that series. And then it gets worse and worse towards as like the more books that she adds on to that series, the worse it got. And then for Court of Thorns and Roses, like it was okay in the beginning, and then it was like, you know, it just gets like worse, like her series progressively, because her writing style is just not for me. So then, like, I never blamed her. Like, I honestly think a lot of people, like, I understand why people like her writing and stuff, but her writing style is just not for me. So the more that she, like, gets comfortable in that writing style, the more books she writes, like, the more I don't like them. So, yeah, I'm honestly surprised that I like this. I honestly expected not to like it at all, because I was like, this is going to be the most Sarah J. Maas book I've ever read. But it's actually pretty good. I'm kind of surprised. Okay, it's like 2 weeks later, and a week ago, I like finished the book, and I filmed in like the last clip of it explaining like what happened, since I've updated the time before that, whatever. And then I was like editing it, and I realized like it's so unnecessary and time consuming going through every single detail that happened in the book, because like this is not meant to be like a summary. It's supposed to be like a review, and not even a review, it's like just a test to see whether I like it or not. So it's pretty pointless to go through every single detail, which I feel like I've been doing a lot. And if you enjoy it, I'm sorry, but it's really tiring to do, and it's just not that kind of video. So I'm going to stop doing that. I'm just going to explain. I finished the book. I didn't rate it on Goodreads, if you follow my Goodreads. But I feel like it's a 3.4, maybe 3.5, sorry, maybe 4 stars, which is like insane, because I did not expect it. That was the wind. It's not a ghost, guys, I promise. But anyway, like, which is insane, because I did not expect like the rating, to my rating, for any Sarah J. Maas book to be that high, because that's like genuinely insane. Like, I did not think it would be that high, but I did not hate it, like, surprisingly enough. I did not hate it. I wasn't crazy about like any of the characters. Weirdly enough, I liked Bryce, which is new. I never liked her main characters, but I liked Bryce. And I didn't like Hunt. I thought he was just so irritating. I like wanted to skip all the chapters that were in his perspective. I just found him so irritating. So I didn't like him and Bryce together. I really liked Connor, even though he was there for like 5 seconds. I felt like he was so sweet. And yeah, like it was genuinely like, this is one of those books, like one of the only books I've ever read for the plot. Like I genuinely wanted to know who killed Danica. I did feel like it stretched. It was very, very long, which is a complaint I have about a lot of Sarah J. Maas books. They're just so unnecessarily long, and I feel like it could be cut back so easily because there's so many like unnecessary scenes and so many unnecessary back and forths. Like Danica did steal a horn, Danica didn't steal a horn, blah blah blah. And I understand that it's to like build suspense or whatever, but at the same time, it's like tiring because like yeah. But anyway, I feel like her writing did improve, or like I don't know, Like when I think about it, this is like the Kale of her books, like Kale from Throne of Glass. I feel like everyone who loves that series hates Kale, and everyone who doesn't like that series loves Kale. And I love Kale, or I liked him. I don't really care about him anymore. And like I feel like Crescent City is that series. Like everyone who loves Sarah J. Maas doesn't love Crescent City, and everyone who doesn't like Sarah J. Maas is like okay with Crescent City. Like I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like it's not really in her like general writing style. It's a little different than her other books in terms of characters and not exactly plot. Her plots are pretty much follow the same formula, but in terms of characters especially, I feel like it's very different. So yeah, I think it's like 3.5 stars. I haven't thought about it a lot, so I'll give it 3.5 stars, which is pretty insane. I definitely liked it better than Court of Thorns and Roses. It was definitely more interesting. I was originally going to finish the series. I was going to read the second book and then maybe read the third book in a different video, but I just don't think I want to do that anymore. Like, reading Crescent City took a lot of energy, and I just don't feel like... Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I feel like her book could have just ended here. I don't know if I mentioned this before in this video because it's been so long since I filmed the rest of it, but like I've noticed in her other series, like the first book or the first two books or whatever, follow a very different plot line than the rest of her series, and then she just like completely changes. There's a completely different villain in her first book than in the rest of her series. For example, in Throne of Glass, the villain was originally the king, and then the king dies and then becomes Maeve, or like, I don't know, I didn't finish Throne of Glass, but as far as I was concerned, that's what it was. And then in A Court of Thorns and Roses, the original villain is Amarantha, and getting out of the mountain is like the main point. And then as the series progresses, you realize the actual villain is like Hybern and the war coming along and whatever. So I feel like I'm not gonna like it as the series keeps going. I'm not gonna like the second book because there's gonna be a completely different villain, because Micah's dead. They found Danica's killer and Sandrella's gone. So I don't really know what's gonna happen. I feel like it could have just ended here and it would have been great. So I'm not gonna read the rest of it for the sake of time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I had fun filming the book and reading it, weirdly enough. So thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye.